Hello friends, good Tuesday morning and welcome to another Television Tuesday. It is about 11:30 on Sunday night. I just finished watching Mr. Robot. It's the penultimate episode of Mr. Robot. We'll get to that a lot more. Let's talk about the TV that I watched over this last week. So I was binging Schooled. I have watched no more episodes of School. I actually traveled this week. I was in LA most of the week, so I didn't have a chance to spend any time doing that. The two other things that we've talked about each week. First, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. It was about gaming and esports. He went LARPing, live action role play. He did some virtual reality. It's good. It's a fun episode. It's actually quite interesting, some of the stuff he does. Again, he looks at a different side of things than a lot of those episodes would. So, encourage you to watch that. It was the final episode of the Imagineering story. I guess that was a 6-part documentary. I researched a little bit about it after it was done. It looks like it was commissioned to be a movie. And then they had 6 hours of content. They didn't want to trim it down to 2 hours. And then when Disney Plus launched, they decided they'd put it on that platform. So this was kind of all the way up into current. Lots on Shanghai Disneyland, a lot on the Avatar world, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and a lot on Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And just kind of wrapping up the series. Very enjoyable, that six-part run. Really worth your time, especially now that it's done. You could binge it on Disney Plus. It's the best thing on Disney Plus to me. I've really, really enjoyed that. So go check that out. The only comedy I watched this week was Goldberg's. It's pretty good. You know, they do pretty good at their holiday episodes. It had a wonderful scene with explosive diarrhea, and you know, you got to check that out. And a lot of it centered around Jeff and Erica. You know, no spoilers. The show's pretty good. It was fine. That show's really not quite as good for me since Laney's not on it. I thought the Barry-Laney relationship was kind of the core emotional driver. But still enjoyable, you know, 20 minutes of your life, 22 minutes, whatever. I didn't watch anything new. Truth be told, I have sitting there I want to watch from Aaron Paul. I did see that Briar Patch. It comes out February 6th. I got a release date. That's upcoming on USA from Sam Esmail, the creator of Mr. Robot, and some other folks. We got a lot of things debuting in February. Not much until then. Although The Witcher starts December 20th, which is imminent. That's on Netflix. So, now into the big stuff. We have a lot to talk about. Dramas, Mandalorian, kind of the same things you've heard me talk about. You know, he's with his kind of the old group he used to hang out with. I don't know if I'm supposed to know who these people are or not. The episode was longer. That was good. It had Osha, Game of Thrones, Tonks, Harry Potter. She was in it, that actor. That was good. You know, last week it came out that Pedro Pascal actually is rehearsing, maybe for a play or filming some other stuff. And in the last episode specifically, 2 other people were behind the mask and not him. He might have been in some of it, but there were at least 3 people behind the mask. That impacts me. I've talked about how it's hard for me to become invested in that show when I don't see any emotional reaction. And then knowing that it's just different people playing it, which is not surprising, but that it just doesn't connect with me. But still, you know, a lot of kind of an intense, more horror style, thriller style episode, but still nothing happened. The plot didn't go anywhere. You know, my same challenges with it, but looks good. It's a lot of good Star Wars. Those of you that are loving it, that's awesome. You know, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think I'll save the spoiler discussion for Crisis until all of them are finished. So there's 5 episodes of this. We've had 3. We've had Supergirl, Batwoman, and The Flash. On January 14th is when the finale with Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow airs. I'm not current on any of those shows, but I did watch the first 3 episodes of Crisis and really enjoyed it. First one the most, actually. Supergirl the most. Through Supergirl, it made me want to go back and watch all the shows, like get caught back up. I'm at least a season behind on all of them. But then as Batwoman and Flash, especially Flash continued, I was like, now I know why I stopped watching this. There's just some things about it that doesn't fit what I like, and they're just so expansive, so many episodes. But as a event, I enjoyed it. You know, you got some big moments that I don't want to spoiler. Tons of cameos. I think the cameos are what people are all after it for. You've got cameos that are hinted at, some that are overt. In the very beginning, the very first couple minutes of the first episode, you get major cameos connecting different parts of the DC universe into that. I encourage you to go watch it. You've got some unique actors. You got Kevin Conroy is in this. In live action, Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman and Batman the Animated Series and all the Arkham, he is actually acting in this. That starts in the Batwoman episode. There's just a lot going on. You get connections to lots of different things that I don't want to spoil, but we'll talk about it all at the end in a spoiler in a couple weeks. I'll talk about both the morning show and Mr. Robot again in the spoiler section. There's just too much going on in both these shows. We'll start with morning show here in the non-spoiler. You get a lot more plot development about Mitch and learning what he is. You get a ton of plot development with Alex, Jennifer Aniston's character. And there's a lot. Like, I think this is probably near the end, maybe only 1 or 2 more episodes, because a lot of the chess pieces are moving around. It was a dynamic episode. The last several episodes of the morning show have been unbelievable. It got nominated for a Golden Globe. I think both Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston maybe got nominated. I know Jennifer Aniston did. It's much deserving. It's as good as anything on television this year. It's about a different, it's a hard subject matter. And it challenges you as a viewer, but it is super intense, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I encourage you to go watch that on Apple. You can get the first 3 episodes, I think, as a free trial. You'll know if you like it through those first 3. We'll talk more about that in the spoiler section. Mr. Robot, I just finished. I don't even know how to talk about it, really. The penultimate episode next week is the finale, series finale, a 2-part finale, 2-hour-long finale. Sam Esmail, who's the creator, has always said he knew what the final chapter was and that he's not changed it much since it would have been a film the way it would have been. So that's kind of what we're headed toward. There are some beautiful moments in this episode. There are some super duper intense moments, especially with Elliot. And I won't even say who's acting with because that could be a spoiler, but some moments that are just unbelievable. There's great cinematography where there's a really intense scene with Elliot talking to another person, and the way that it's all black behind them and all you see is their silhouette and their face, and it's switching the sides of the TV based on who's talking. It just drew you in. I'll be very sad for that show to end. That show, like Legion, which ended earlier this year, are 2 shows that have just kept me in the world of crazy, zany, anything can happen television shows, but super acting, and I've really enjoyed them. So I'm sad to see them ending. Along with Game of Thrones ended this year. With Andy Lincoln leaving The Walking Dead. There's just a lot that's happened recently in the television shows I enjoy. So it's sad. Now Westworld's another one. Westworld's coming back. That's gravy. Gravy. I like gravy. So that is your non-spoiler part of Television Tuesday. We're going to move forward and go to the spoiler part. I'll talk about the morning show first. Then I'm going to wave the hand, and that means I'm on Mr. Robot. So here we go, spoiler time, the morning show. The stuff with Mitch and Hannah is incredible. The acting is so good. Mitch is just like, hey, you remember when you slept with me and you used it to get ahead in your career? He's clueless that she felt assaulted in that moment. You have Bradley talking to Alex and telling her that she wants to interview Mitch. Of course, that goes off the wire. Anyone could have told you that. There's a scene later where Corey's like, and how did that go? Because, everybody knows how it's going to go. But ultimately what happens is you get this power play where you see that Alex is going to align herself with Fred and the network and her show. And you've got Bradley aligning herself with Corey. They're the new blood to the show. And then you have Chip kind of in the middle. Chip, the showrunner. Chip, who's kind of grown up on TV with Alex. But Alex is in, Fred is basically saying somebody's got to be the fall guy. He's going to be the fall guy. And Alex seems to quickly discard him, somebody that she's worked with all this time. And that puts Chip in the middle where it looks like we're going to have Chip, Bradley, and Corey set up and do the Mitch interview without Alex and Fred knowing it. There's just a lot going on there. I don't know what I think is going to happen. For a while I thought maybe this would all work out and Bradley and Alex would be just the friendly co-anchors and we'd move forward. I know there's a season 2 of the morning show. I have no idea what it could be about right now because it feels like this is going to barrel to a conclusion here with the Mitch interview. Now, maybe the Mitch interview is the last scene of the season, and then there's the aftermath in season 2. I don't know. Doesn't feel like all these characters can be sustained, which is sad because they're all really good. Now that Steve Carell's been a lot more involved, his acting is top-notch. He looks fantastic with the salt and pepper. It's been really good. My heart broke for Yanko. The Yanko and Claire stuff is hard, and obviously Hannah not being able to express what happened to her, and it impacts Claire, and then Claire breaking up with Yanko. And Yanko seems to be like a pure good on this show, and there isn't a lot of pure good. He's a guy you can root for. You know, I mean, I guess he was hiding his affair, but I don't think he's not with anyone else. So it's just he was dating a coworker that then they eventually disclosed to HR. But it's not like he's cheating on somebody or anything like that. At least I don't think. I don't think we've seen him married. I don't think. Because it'd be pretty brazen if he was telling HR and going out to dinner. If so. So I don't know. I can't remember. I don't think so. But I felt really bad for Yanko. And then the scene with Alex and Mitch. You know, I don't know how to interpret it. It felt like Alex was threatening Mitch, saying, I will make up a story that says you raped me when I was drunk. But we don't know if that really happened or not. The way Mitch responded, like, you wouldn't. And the fact that later, when Hannah was kind of telling him that she felt assaulted, he was like, don't play the victim. Those are two different reactions to a similar thing. So I feel like it's Alex was saying she'd lie to get him in trouble to save her thing. So that's big. Lots of tensions ready to explode. The Hannah and Mitch scene at the very end was really good again. Every time they're on screen together, it's been very intense. You know, Mitch finally realizing what he had done and blaming Hannah and a lot of the stuff. And she says she'll go along with it as long as she can remain anonymous. I don't know where that's going to go. And then the very end with Chip realizing that Alex had turned on him. That was sad. You feel bad for Chip. Chip seems to be a universal good too. Not a lot going on with Mia right now since the Hannah reveal. And there seems to be that Chip-Mia dynamic that we're not sure of. So I'm curious as to what that is. But all right, that's the morning show. Great episode. Huge plot progression. And we'll see what's going to happen. So now we're going to go to Mr. Robot. The beginning scene where we get just a tiny bit of a flashback where we see Elliot and Darlene. The camera cut to Grace Gummer, to Dom, last episode, when she looks down at Elliot and Darlene. Now we see the end of the conversation, and it's so emotional after the Sour Patch Kids where Elliot thanks her for not giving up on him and always being there for him. That relationship is good. I'm not sure that that's not a goodbye to Darlene. As we'll talk about, she's not in the whatever happened at the end. And I'm not sure that might have been her final scene. I hope not, because she's excellent. Carly Chicken's been excellent. The Elliot White Rose scene, as I talked about earlier, just amazing. Back and forth, and White Rose talking about why she's trying to save the world, and Elliot's the one that hates the world, and the name of his group is F Society. The way they kept playing the all black with the faces back and forth was so good. And then, I don't know what happened. White Rose kills herself, telling Elliot that he has a choice. He plays the game. He gets through it. Nothing happens. The nuclear warhead's going to blow up, or whatever is going to happen. The reactor's going to blow up. Then he plays it again, and he realizes he can't abandon his friend. He needs to sit down beside his friend because his friend gives him the note that says, don't leave him. I was convinced in that scene that he was going to turn and talk to us again, because Elliot has not talked to us, has not said hello, friend, to us. Not this whole season. It's been since early last season. I can't remember the last time it is, but it's been a long time since he started acknowledging us. And I thought maybe he would do so there, because he said he needed to sit and be with his friend. But then we see he sits, and Mr. Robot sits across from him. They tell each other they love each other. And it fades to red, which I guess is the thing blowing up. We got this machine. So here, all along in Mr. Robot, there's been allusions to time travel, alternate realities, the machine, whatever the machine does. The stuff with Angela, right? Like telling White Rose telling Angela that she could bring her mother back to life, and some of that stuff, and telling Elliot she was gonna show him what she showed Angela. You have all that going on that has just been underlying, because there's been such a tour de force of acting, all the hacking stuff, all the stuff with F Society and the Deus Group, and the Dark Army. the FBI investigation. All of that has been the macro plot, but there's been that one underlying thread of the kind of sci-fi stuff that it looks like we're going to dig into here, and I don't know what it means. So it fades to red, and we've got the flash sideways for Lost. That's what it felt like. We had the Lost moment. I mean, the flash sideways that I think happened. We got the flash sideways after the bomb blew up in Lost. It was a very big allusion to that. I'm a huge Lost fan. It's my favorite show of all time, so I don't have a problem with that. It's great. But that's what it felt like, the flash sideways. And it cold opens, and Elliot's like in a loft apartment in New York, and he's getting ready for work, and he's shaving, and he's listening to a record, and he gets a Skype call from Angela, and Angela's obviously alive, and they're about to get married the next day. And he looks happy, and he's wearing like a sweater. Not a hoodie, like a collared shirt and a sweater. We found out he's the CEO of AllSafe. He meets with Tyrell of F Corp instead of E Corp. And you get this where Tyrell wants to make sure that F Corp's safe and doesn't expose people's data and all this. It's like a whole different world. Like maybe that's what White Rose is trying to show him. The other world, the way it could be. You've got Elliot's dad is alive. Angela's mom is alive. But the key thing here, Elliot is an only child. That's reinforced. So Angela says to Elliot, you're acting just like you're an only child or whatever. And he's like, oh, you got me. And then you see on Mr. Robot's phone, or in this case, in Elliot's dad's phone, that it's just the dad and the mom and Elliot. No Darlene. Now, way ago in season 1, when the F Society hack was going on and all this stuff was going on the Times Square billboards, Elliot did not see Darlene in that. There was, I think, maybe even that picture, if I remember right. But it was something where it's just Elliot, his mom and his dad, no Darlene. He didn't see that. And we all wondered what that meant 4 years ago. And we're back to it. And I don't know what it means. I'm talking to you, camera. I don't know what it means. But I'm so intrigued for next week's episode. So the final scene, of course, blows your mind. So he goes, he does a nice thing. We see that Angela's mom exists. We see that, we think, because she hangs up on him, Elliot goes to their house. There's blood and looks like a broken liquor bottle or something in the garbage. He says, oh, your dad still drinks. I guess her dad is still Philip. I don't know. But we know he drinks a lot. Did something happen? Is that why she hung up? I don't know. But then we get the big scene. Elliot comes home. And sitting at his computer is our Elliot. Hoodie Elliot. Not sweater Elliot. Hoodie Elliot. And he says, who are you? And that's where it ends. I don't have a clue what's going on. The flash sideways was so jilting. Just to see Rami Malek playing Elliot in the sweater guy, in the CEO of AllSafe, was crazy. It was so cool to see. It was awesome to see he and Angela in love. It was awesome to see a good relationship with his father. Like, all that felt really good. And, is this an alternate reality? Is this what the machine did? Are they dead? Are they not dead? Is this all in his brain? I think that's very likely, right? We still don't know who the third person is, who the person that the child and Mr. Robot keep referring to, the third personality. We don't know about the Darlene. Why is she not in this reality? It makes me wonder if Darlene was ever real. I feel like she has to be real. I think there's things that said she has to be real, but I don't know. I don't know. But it was a great episode of television. The way that Esmail just shoots all this is so good. And I can't wait for the finale. And I'm going to be sad when it's over. I've really enjoyed this season. It's the best season they've had. So, all right, that's it. Tuesday television's over. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.